Okay, guys, it feels like we're starting to get quite a few people come in. Great to see everybody. Thanks for joining today. Really excited to give you guys kind of an overview and then also, of course, jump in with your questions. A couple of things that we wanted to share beforehand. We have some great insights that we wanted to share from meeting with Faire recently. We went into their offices just the other day. We thought worthwhile kind of running you through that. We actually had someone the other day ask who we are, which I found funny, but we'll just do briefly that. Hopefully you guys do know. But the most important thing is we're just going to spend most of your time on your questions, guys. The more detail you can give us about what type of business you can do, the more precise I can be. Tend to find that a lot of people, the advice we give as Faire experts is really applicable to other brands, hence why we set this up. The whole idea behind it is, hopefully you guys can pick up something that can grow. So we'll jump into it. Obviously, Lucy and I, you've probably seen Lucy, thankfully more than you'll have seen my pretty face on YouTube. And we basically set the business up and on the YouTube after our success with Bearkind, our bamboo sock business. On Faire, we went from 0 retailers to 1,000 retailers quite quickly. And we wanted to basically share that with other people. So now we run Candid Founders, our growth agency. That's kind of why we're here today. Couple things I wanted to cover for you guys. You're probably already very aware of this, but it's really worth reiterating multiple times because everything that I kind of talk about going forward will, I guess, really reference these kind of two main factors on Faire's priorities. And when we were with Faire just the other day, they were reiterating them to us again. Really simply, retailer growth is super crucial for them. They have a significant amount of brands on the platform now, and really, if we're being honest, are probably saturated in that perspective. So how can we drive more retailers to them? How can we align with their goals to drive that retailer growth? And then they will actually continue to grow your business as well. With all of our brands that we've worked with, we've put those that have let us kind of put their data into an anonymized format. People that get, whenever you bring a customer in on Faire Direct, you're likely to get 5 times that amount through Faire Marketplace. And that's the numbers that we've seen kind of grow out over time. So for across all of our brands, 17% Faire Direct, 82% Marketplace. Which just goes to show, even when you've got brands like ours, for example, we brought in 100 retailers in one day a couple of years ago through Faire, which was a crazy day, I can assure you that. We've still got 5 times the amount of that through Faire Marketplace. So really kind of reiterating that, guys, Faire does an amazing job if you do an amazing job for it. The second part is then, what does brand success look like and how does that align to Faire success? And that's about always focusing on gross merchandise value. If you read any of Faire's blogs, it's all about GMV or gross merchandise value. And their best proxy for that to then drive marketplace growth is conversion rate. So every single thing that we talk about today will be focused on conversion rate, whether that's being as helpful as you possibly can to retailers, whether that's growing your retail business, your retail outreach, everything will be aimed towards conversion rate. So we'll talk about that on an ongoing basis as well. This is something that we wanted to talk about. I think actually I might come back to that later on, but basically retailer lifetime value is on the left-hand side. This is across a couple of our retailers. And basically what it shows is a first order. And you guys will know this better than most. A first order comes in and it's worth, call it 250 bucks. Yeah. I imagine that's quite standard for a lot of people on the call. And what I hear regularly from brands is, I'm only getting kind of 1 or 2 orders, but they're really not focusing on this long tail of orders that come in over the next 12 months. So I see Kerry kind of nodding there. Thank you, Kerry, for that. But 100%, and this is what we see, £3,200 on average, dollars I should say, from $250 to $3,200 is how much a retailer on average will spend with a brand, that at least the ones that we've worked with. And this is over 12 months. So you might bring them in for a relatively small amount, but they leave. And this is just the first 12 months. It's not the data that kind of goes on past that. And then what's the total? So kind of back to our original point, Faire is here to grow their business, right? And they're focusing on gross merchandise value. So it's all well and good to get that initial purchase in, but it's the fact that you bring them back on an ongoing basis that's the most crucial part that we're also going to talk about, kind of when we think about retailer focus and retailer priority, it's how can we continue to drive that repeat purchase retailer. So you get one person in, and then they're likely to spend 10 times the amount because your first purchase is going to be 8.5%, and and then the rest of it is what's going to drive your total gross merchandise. And then what can we do within that? So on average across our clients, they reorder on a median basis of 61 days, on an average basis 120. So make sure that we're out in front of customers on a regular cadence. And what we like to think about is, like you guys, you're a busy brand owner. Retailer owners are no less busy, as you can imagine, running a shop as well. Or if they don't run a shop, there's a lot to do. So whilst what we recommend is going out on a weekly basis, they're not going to be looking at your stuff every week. But maybe they open 5% of your emails, maybe they open 10% of your emails, and that's when you're going to hit them and then make that conversion. So we kind of break that down into these 4 kind of main areas within a flywheel. Essentially, we want to focus on acquiring to expand the business, bring them back through nurturing and retaining, and then you can do a lot of stuff with actually driving a Faire first strategy, not just on Faire, but then how do you adjust your business to Faire, and then making sure, of course, you've got the optimization across the piece. So that's kind of the main areas, guys, I wanted to focus on, just as like a brief background, a bit of a download from meeting with Faire just the other day. Really good news as well for brands. They're bringing out, I can't say which countries yet, but in the next week or so, they will be announcing, I think it's kind of about 20 countries. They've announced it. They have announced it today. So they've gone out to 20 different countries. Obviously, they're not going to be as large as the US, for example, but it is good to see that continued growth that demonstrates that they're investing in the platform for retailers. So that's kind of the main things that we wanted to cover, guys. I wanted to ask if you've got any questions that we want to talk about, regardless of, most importantly, I think it should be any question that you had as you were kind of preparing for this meeting, or as well, also happy to kind of chat about what we've just walked through there. Pamela, you're first in. You can be first question. Guys, Pamela sent an amazing loom to us the other day. So thank you, Pam, or at least to my wife, Lucy. We're related, I guess, in that respect. So Pamela, great to see you. How are you? Yeah? Oh, you're on mute, Pamela.
That's because Lucy muted me. And just want to clarify, it's Lucy and Andrew that are related, not me.
Yes, that's true. Yes. No, we're not married. Lucy and I are married. Yeah.
No, we're not married. No, honestly.
So sorry.
Okay. All right. So my question, I have a couple.
Cool.
My write-in question was on pre-orders.
Right.
I set them up. I have used them, and I'm not 100% clear on how I can use them effectively.
Right.
If you want, I can share my screen and show you what I've done and talk it through that way. Or
absolutely, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Maybe Pam, if I could. So Pamela, if you want to start, just share kind of like the general idea, and then maybe we can go into share screening.
Okay, well, so I'm really intrigued with the marketplace sales that you guys are getting, because my problem is that I am totally Toronto art. So,
yeah,
and I'm working desperately to get out into the bigger world. But it takes a lot of time and effort, as you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you can do to help me get more in market. But anyway, I mean, doing whatever you're telling me to do, so that's probably a good start. Anyway, so I sell totally Toronto art products. What it is, it's souvenirs, and not just souvenirs, but high-end artwork, custom framed artwork, right down to magnets and postcards and stuff, all done mostly by one Toronto artist who has been making images, all those warm, comfy, cozy images that everybody loves about their city.
Amazing.
Since 1973.
Cool.
And so I make all kinds of products and sell them retail, but my big market, of course, is wholesale. And the souvenir aspect really lends itself to corporate sales too. So I work on trying to get events. Another sideline that you guys will love, and more people on this call than I think, is that David was a fan of Coronation Street, the artist, main artist. And so he has this Coronation Street line that all those Corey fans just go insane over. So my next step.
And Pamela, how does that connect to the pre-orders? Brilliant business, gorgeous products. What are you thinking?
Okay, well, for the Faire sale, I'm really talking about putting, all of my product lines that I have to order inventory for.
Yep.
Into pre-orders, and I've set them up.
Yep.
It's it's kind of like the parameters of it that I am like, that urgency or
Yep.
I'm kind of, like, what do I have an end date? Do I not
Yep.
have an end date? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can give you some generic guidance, and then maybe if you want to share your screen off that, see if there's any questions as you kind of talk about pre-orders that come up, please bring them out in the chat as well. Good to kind of get pre-orders. We love pre-orders. A fantastic way to make sure that when a retailer comes to you, they're able to leave knowing that they're going to get your products. That's kind of the first part. I can't tell you how much improvement you can get by having availability of your products in your store and how that will drive sales. So we've done it before, or we've had the problem a couple of years ago on Bear Kind with the sock business. We didn't have the socks in stock. Year after that, we've had the socks in stock, or we did pre-orders, and that massively drove our business. Actually, we ended up that quarter, it was the first quarter of the year, ended up being up 20%. What we recommend with pre-orders, Pamela, is we would go in, especially in relation to Faire Summer Market, I would want you to get as many of your products up and on the platform as possible and published, whether they're in pre-order or they're live. Ideally, live is always best. However, what you need to make sure if you're doing is just basically try and bunch up the dates for your pre-orders so that you're not splitting the orders into just too many dates. So what we like to recommend is probably, if you can, have kind of maybe 1, maximum 2 dates for pre-orders in the future, if that's something that you can do. So let's say we've got Faire Summer Market at the end of the month in July, then maybe we do end of August. Obviously, this is where guys like, we're the Faire experts, but you're going to know your business is second to none. And so we try to get there to help you with, like, on the Faire side, but we're never going to be able to, understand every single nuance, with your business, Pamela, like when are they coming, how much is coming, all that sort of thing. But what I would generally recommend is I would probably put a pre-order for the end of August, get those people that kind of they understand, okay, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff straight away after the summer market at a great discount. Then maybe for August, before the kind of Christmas season in particular, we already know Christmas is the biggest season on Faire. And then I would look for a start of Q4, so start of October, end of September, second pre-order date. Batch everything into those two, and that should drive really good volume. What I really like about that as well is it's going to be a consistent reminder in person, in shop. So they're going to get your first order, and hence why we want to try and make it as small as possible, so we're not splitting them across heaps of orders. They're going to get that first order post Faire Summer Market, and then come end of September, let's say if we just did the 1-2 months out, then they're getting their big Christmas haul, ideally with one of your promotions on. Faire is obviously offering the 5%, which is fantastic. What we recommend is you're always on promotion discount, have that plus 5%. It gives your retailers certainty when they're ordering from you all the time. Sales do work on Faire. There's no doubt about it, to drive short business. But as you saw before, that graph of retailer lifetime value, i.e. how much people are spending on the platform, is the most crucial basic metric for us to kind of grow Faire's gross merchandise value, and then what that means for you as well. So that's kind of the generics. Does that help, Pamela?
Yeah, so if I translate it into my business, then the Faire sale, there's a lot of stuff that can go out almost immediately after the sale. So I could have that stuff ordered and delivery by, end of July or middle of August.
Okay.
And then I have the stuff that I could have some of it in inventory, but it's kind of nice to know whether it's a bigger order.
Yeah.
So I could have that. I have wall calendars. I could have that, beginning of September. I have Christmas cards and that sort of thing, maybe in October. So that might be 3 dates, but it's kind of the Christmas. Yeah, maybe I just make it the 1st of September. You get all your Christmas stuff and all that, something like that.
As much as possible. Faire, the summer market's a great way to pull forward those orders and then encourage more orders from Christmas. So make sure you've got a Christmas collection. Make sure you've got a summer market collection. I would probably, from the way you're describing it, I would probably go with everything available in the end of July. It feels like it's kind of like then a small amount that's coming in August. It's just the way that you're kind of working it. A little bit more September, a little bit more October. I would probably merge the September and October ones in together. And then I'd question if you do want to bring out the August ones at all if it's a small
No,
amount.
no. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I like, pick September 1st and
Cool.
get your calendars and your Christmas stuff because it's the beginning of the season and end of story.
Pamela, if you don't mind, I might pause there on the question and go back to everybody else, but I'll come back to you if that's okay. Obviously got lots of chat.
Did you say
sure.
you have your shop on sale all year long at 5%?
So yes, and that was a good question from MK as well. Thank you. We do. We have an always on promotion. The way that we work out this always on promotion, as well as what we recommend to clients, is the following: 3 tiers, maximum tiers, and I'll tell you why kind of for each one. What we recommend is an average order value. Work out what your average order value is, and then have your shipping around about there, maybe a little bit more. Okay. So first tier is free shipping, no discount. Second tier, then depending on, and by the way, right, this is dependent on margins. Socks is a great gross margin business, very cheap socks to buy. Obviously, you then have, we sell them for a tenner. So in terms of how you kind of like split that business, there'll be other businesses here where 10% would be an absolutely ginormous amount, but maybe that's a much higher cost product. So the percentages, apply them to your own business, make sure they make sense for your margin profile. Second one we do then is 10%. We do this at 2 to 3 times average order value. And this is going to encourage, reward those loyal and big purchasing customers with something that's enough enough to kind of get them interested and out of bed. The second tier, or the third tier, I should say, and that also does include free shipping, I should say. They all include free shipping. Then the third tier is 20% off and free shipping. And we call this our distributor light model. This is for those multi-store retail chains that aren't a distributor. Quite regular for a distributor to get to 30-35% margins if you guys are working with the distributors. That's typically where they are. Obviously, again, depends on what type of business that you're working in. So you're already going to be offering 30 to 35%. Hopefully, you've got a strong enough gross margin profile to offer that to distributors who are probably spending $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year. But there will be large multi-store retailers that do deserve a more chunky discount. So we work with a couple businesses, for example, where they're doing $20,000, $40,000 a year, and they're doing big chunky orders, and they weren't doing them previously. On the Bear Kind business, for example, we set that up to begin with, and you can also bring the amounts down. You can play with them to make sure it makes sense for you, of course. But this is just what we recommend. So we did it at $2,500, and then we did the 20% off. We thought no one would get it, and before you know it, people love. And maybe they've got no problems with storage in their business. So they've got a warehouse. Maybe they've got a lot of space at home. Maybe they've got an empty stock room. So they're happy to invest. And then the best thing about that stock is going to be burning a hole in their floor in their warehouse, and they're going to try everything they can to get it up and out into their store so that you're going to be going to have more of their shelf space as well. Then there's kind of the Faire specific things. Faire does an amazing job so that 20% discount, right? It sounds like a lot, but now Faire is going to message every single one of your clients when they add a product to their basket and they abandon basket, or they do the abandoned basket or cart, depending on what you call it. A retailer will now get an email saying up to 20% off. Check out your basket with Bear Kind, with Pamela, with your Totally Toronto business, and more MK. So that's kind of, there's a couple of Faire specific little emails and tricks that you can kind of hack is the wrong word, but take advantage of and be really retailer specific. MK, you asked that question. Was there anything else you wanted to kind of get from there?
No, that's a great hack. Them reaching out to the customers that have abandoned cart, because that's what I see, my abandoned cart. I'm communicating with them, but when Faire communicates, that adds some social proof and some legitimacy to it. I did have a question about that first tier that you mentioned. Can you repeat that again?
So we do free shipping. So free shipping across all. Yeah. No discount.
Got it.
We don't have to be giving out discount, guys, straight away. It's a lot of margin, and there's also a bit of a negative signal. A bit desperate. Kind of free carriage paid is really standard before Faire at having an amount for that, and then no discount after, unless you kind of have a negotiation, have a conversation. And similar to kind of what Faire's done with customer exclusivity, it's about going out to retailers, telling them exactly where you sit as a brand, so you can have a really open, honest conversation. These are my discounts. Cards are on the tables, guys. You want to make it there, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Happy to offer customer exclusivity. Happy to kind of give you those bigger discounts. So that's the way that we kind of think about it. MK as well, sorry, Lisa's just mentioned about Faire sending emails for abandoned carts. They do. It's not an email you can control. It's not an email you can guarantee either. It's one that they will send depending on the email profile for that client. But it's a Faire branded email, and it will have your brand with a couple of the products that they have in their cart, and it will say receive up to 20%. So yeah, they are sending those emails. And they do seem to be working for retailers. Cool. There's heaps of questions, guys. I want to go to those that were first. Lisa, you asked another question about exclusivity. I've been inviting customers through messages to sign up for exclusivity. Customer wanted to sign up for it, but it was not visible to them when they visited my page. I contacted Faire and they said there could be a variety of reasons why a retailer might not be able to request exclusivity, such as not meeting the program requirements or certain account behavior that restricts their access. Any insight? We should be able to view eligibility status on Faire before inviting. That is interesting. Not a big problem I've ever come across. This would be the first time I've had a look at it. Lucy knows this one as well.
I actually do know the answer to this one. Hi everyone. I'm just lurking in the background. Yeah, it is a thing. Faire actually do vet retailers because we don't actually want everyone to have the option to have exclusivity. So I can understand where you're coming from. It's annoying that you've invited them and then they actually don't have it. But it's a way to protect us brands. You don't know what that we have no idea what that retailer has done, but it might be bad credit on their account, or they've cancelled a bunch of orders. There could be anything. That's Faire. Keep their cards to their chest in terms of how they vet certain brands and retailers. But that's essentially what they're doing. They're trying to protect us. I do get that it's annoying. You're doing the right thing though, I think, in continuing to invite them, because it's going to be not too many that you'll get that back and you say sorry. You can kind of blame it back on Faire when that happens. So I wouldn't stop inviting people. Is my thoughts on that. I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is when we're doing kind of what we recommend across the account will work for 99% of the time. This sounds like an example of that, where it's not worked in the 1% of times. And what I would be encouraging you to do is not be disheartened by kind of those conversations with people that are going to be yelling the loudest, because it obviously affects them negatively, but to really continue to go for it. I mean, we must have sent thousands of customer exclusivity messages at this point. And so, you can really, that's probably, this is the first time that I've heard that issue before. So sorry to hear that it's happened to you, Lisa. But equally, I would continue to hammer on that. And then Helen, you've got a question. I have a question relating to the upcoming Faire sale. We have a new Christmas collection in the wings. Would you launch it after the sale or include it in the sale? I'm reticent about offering a discount on a brand new collection. Helen, did you want to come on? Probably what I'd ask, Helen, is how long after will the order be available? Is it available kind of now for Faire Summer Market? Oh, you're on mute, Helen.
There you go. Better?
Better, but I'm struggling to hear you a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, it's because I'm swinging in a hammock in the garden.
It looks like you're living a very tough life.
Right, okay, so the collection is about to launch. Well, we were going to launch it to trade in sort of late July, August, and it will be a collection which continues to run for the next few years. We manufacture our own products, so we've got control over that.
Yeah.
But I wondered whether I should actually include it in the sale, or because we've got previous Christmas collections we can put in the sale, but this is brand new.
Yeah.
Or whether I should hold off, because I don't want to discount a brand new product and then launch it post-sale.
Yeah. Do you have an always-on promotion, Helen?
No, we don't. No.
Okay.
We just don't have the margin for that, unfortunately.
No problem.
Because we're making everything in the UK, and we use expensive fabrics.
Sure.
We haven't got enough margin to have an always-on. We have, Faire. If we have a new retailer and Faire take the 25%, that kind of is as much as we can possibly manage.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, I mean, it's one for your margins, it's one for your operations, and how you want to protect the brand. Faire is offering it, so I wouldn't say that it's destroying your brand. I would say that it's basically, Faire's providing that additional discount. If you're not running a promotion on, you can do the Faire Summer Market. I think that's kind of the expectation at this point. You're giving up 5%, and then your retailers will get 5% as well. I think, if that's kind of the minimum or if that's the maximum you would stretch to, Helen, I would recommend turning on the discount. I would recommend putting the products out there for that time, or perhaps maybe you don't feel like you're ready to yet send them out. So maybe you send them out come start of September. You don't want them sitting there in, for August. It's going to be hopefully nice and warm in the UK in August, or maybe you then send it out in September. So if I was you, I would probably put it in. I would not worry too much about the brand impact around the 5% discount, because I think retailers do expect it and do understand it if you're not going to continue offering it.
Okay, so even though it's a brand new collection, you still discount it in the sale?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's you discounting. I would say that it's Faire offering it.
Okay.
I don't think no retailer would come back to you and say, oh, you sold it to me for 10% less 2 months ago. Now when I need a restock, you'd say it's Faire Summer Market. They provide the discount. Thank you so much for working with us. We already try to be as competitively priced as possible. Hence why we don't offer a discount always on. It's only for these Faire Summer Markets where we're kind of really trying to get on top of and utilize the budget that Faire's providing. And I think you can work your way around that in a conversation with a customer.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you very much.
No, Helen, you've definitely got the best background I've seen so far. Guys, in the UK today, it's 30 degrees and it is sweltering.
Hanging under the roses, I am.
It looks amazing.
Okay, thanks so much. Thank you.
No problems. Billion Brothers, I'm new to Faire. I've got 2 small orders in a month, but my visits are 3 to 4 per day only. How can I increase my visits to the retailers to my store? How should I make good use of the keywords, titles of products? Also, where to search for the best keywords for the Faire site? Okay, couple questions there. I'll also try and make it really applicable, guys, for the bigger businesses here as well, or the more established businesses, I should say. Welcome to Faire, Billion Brothers. Everyone that started here has been in the same position. What I would say is that make sure that these retailers come back, get as many reviews from them as you can. I would also push to make sure that those people that are friendly to the business, if you've got existing retailers, for example, on maybe across other channels. I think before when we were talking, you mentioned that you're rather large. You're quite big on Etsy, for example, as well. Is there any people there that are purchasing a significant amount of your products that you could direct maybe after a conversation with them to Faire to make a purchase, and then to hopefully obviously leave a review, a 5-star review. So really try to up that velocity as much as you can. You're going to be up against brands like this, that are on the call with hundreds of reviews. A lot of them will be 5 stars, and retailers will be comparing yourselves against them. This is a general point as well to everybody on the call. What we want to be pushing out, guys, is make it as easy as possible for a retailer to leave a 5-star review on your account. There's an amazing tool that Faire has, which is the link. When you put that in the Faire message tool, all they need to do is select the stars. They always select 5 stars, pretty much. So do push those people to engage with your brand. An easy way to do it is to just look at your orders. The best thing about it is that people can leave multiple reviews so you can leave 1 review per order. So go down your order sheet, leave it up, and just message everybody, and then leave it at a certain point. So let's go 2 weeks below, and then message people after they've received it. Hope you've had an amazing time. What we like to do, this is probably one of the best messages, is if you feel like you've got the time, reach out to the business, message them, leave them a 5-star review across Facebook, across Google. Odds are, like you guys, you will have seen a review. You'll notice their name or their brand. Thank you so much for working with us on Faire. Your custom means the world to us. Just leaving this because you've been fantastic to work with. So that's what we'd recommend. That will push your reviews up. That will also then increase your conversion rate. The other thing, guys, and this is really crucial, product photography is an absolute must. Absolute must. We're coming out with a blog. I think Lucy will whack it in the chat if it's already out, but we're basically where we walk through all of the 9 different product photography guidelines that we recommend. Everything. I see MK. Thank you for the nod. I appreciate it. I'm going to kind of walk you through what that looks like, guys, as well. If I bring up the number one thing you guys can do in particular is videos. That is the secret sauce these days. So can you guys see my screen, please? Nod if you can. Everyone can. Very good, thank you. So this is Bearkind, our animal saving sock business. I share this rather than other businesses just because of, I don't want to kind of go through Faire's platform, without their consent, but happy to kind of show off, our product. Let's bring up the alpacas. So we have, actually I'll start at the start. This is all of our socks. As you can notice, colorful background. We're competing against people that will have a white background. We have a lot of products as well, and this is going to help you stand out when a retailer searches for your product on their retailer view. So this is the retailer view. I'm going to bring up our alpaca socks. Straight, flat low, straight away. They understand the product, they get it. For us, packaging is important for our retailers, so we've then got the packaging in front and they can understand it straight away. Then there's a zoomed in photo. What do they look like whilst the socks are on? Some infographics, just kind of giving in a quick, easy, digestible format what is going to sell for a retailer that knows their stuff on socks. What I would recommend here, guys, as well, you can go onto Etsy and you can buy icon packs for this and then design them for your business. MK, for example, there's going to be one on alcohol. There is one on food I've seen. And these icons are super easy to put on, and it conveys instantly this level of quality, professionalism, and it, here we go. We made the Gorilla Tough Koala Soft one. That's probably my favorite icon I've ever seen. But that's by the by. And then we go into life cycle. Yeah, MK, you can buy it on Etsy. There should be about $20, something like that. But it will save you an arm and a leg rather than going out and getting a designer. For those bigger brands on the call, if you've got a design team in-house, I would recommend them staying within the brand guidelines and building out the infographics. This can also look very similar to the Amazon product listing photos as well. The main thing is just make sure your first image doesn't have a whole bunch of text. It's just the product laid out in a simple way. Then we go into life cycle or lifestyle. So life cycle would be if we've got any makeup brands, that type of thing. Maybe if it's a food, beverage, it being poured, we want to see it being used in situ. And then from a lifestyle perspective, fashion brands in particular, what is it going to look like on? So these are our these are our blue denim jeans, which we've matched with our alpaca socks. We then go into objection handling, so size guide, FAQs, what's the material, and this is questions that if you guys have ever run a store, a market, when people come up to you and they ask you things, this is the type of questions you want to be answering. It's also any question that people are asking on your messages as well. So would recommend, because if someone's asking the question to you, there's 10 times the amount of people that didn't ask the question and thought about it, but just clicked off, right? So we put this at the end of every single one of our listings. People might not see it on the first, but they're gonna see it maybe on the 10th listing, as they scroll down, oh, what's this? We then recommend point of sale. So many brands focus on selling to retailers, not helping retailers sell. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to help retailers sell. We offer point of sale stands for free to our retailers after they can fill the stand with socks. Whatever that means for your business as well. So maybe that's cards, for example, Pam. Maybe it's a fridge for you, MK. As you kind of work through what that is for your business, make sure that people can stock it. Make sure it's heavily branded. This is marketing for you. We also recommend selling it on Faire as well. You'd be so surprised how many businesses, they don't want to talk to you. They still want to use your product. They're going to buy your product, and they can come to you afterwards, and you just give them a refund for the amount that they've asked for, or that they've purchased, I should say. And then the last is, what does it look like in store? What does it look like online? So take those photos, whenever you're going around to see someone's store. So that's kind of to that product photography piece. There's a whole bunch you can jump into their Billion Brothers that are really good overview. On SEO, or the keywords and product titles, we've got a video. It's one of our highest viewed ones. So have a look at that on our Candid Founders YouTube channel, and we'll whack it in the chat here. We'll definitely recommend kind of following that. We want to focus at the product category level, guys. We want to create product category winning brands. So it doesn't matter kind of what's happening. We just want to win that product category. What is a product category? You can be as precise as animal novelty bamboo socks, or you can be as broad as socks, right? work out what that is for your business, work out what level you are. You know, if you're clothing, do you want to win maxi dresses? That type of thing. If you're food, do you want to be the person winning healthy soda, prebiotic kombucha drinks? Whatever that works for your brand, just make sure you win the product category and then start to level up. We're trying to win socks now. We won bamboo socks, we won animal socks, now we're trying to win socks. And that will be, I want to win cocktail cherries. That's a cool business. And that's what you want to try and aim for. Hopefully that helps, Billion Brothers. And guys, any questions around product photography as well? Any questions as I know I ran through quite a few. Pamela, you're on mute, but I thought it was funny. MK, product arrangement. Do you recommend how Faire sorts your page? Yes, definitely. Faire is heavily relying on large language models and AI to optimize exactly what's going to work for that retailer based on everything they've ever searched for, and then applies it to your store. Hopefully you've done a great job I'm going to assume, okay, you've done a great job already, I'm assuming, on your product titles, your product descriptions, filling out the product general section as much as possible, having lots of images, give as much information to the algorithm for it to work its magic, and make it as relevant as possible for your retailers. So definitely turn it on. In fact, for new businesses, they don't let you turn it off. It's basically just they do Faire's arrangement, and you can't turn it off as an option. So that's one and I think that change came in at about the start of the year, where they forced it.
May I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
So prior to the call, I went on to my shop page and looked that it was not turned on. So I need to turn that on. Is that correct?
What's the exact wording that they've got for it?
Okay, let me look at it here.
Yeah, let me just bring it up.
It says retailers can find your custom arrangement in their sort options.
Yes.
So my arrangement says inactive.
Yeah, I would leave it. I would leave it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point, leave it off. Their algorithm is working great. You can turn it on. It is a bit of work to kind of update on an ongoing basis. It's not a needle mover. Fairs is going to be the biggest needle mover for your retailers because of how specific it is.
That's what I thought. So I just wanted to confirm that. I just noticed that button today.
The only thing that's worth considering is if you have a product business that you really want to spend the time merchandising really hyper specifically. So maybe you've got a really large category and you want to make sure that all socks are together with all candles, with all bourbon. I'm talking something really eclectic, right? With t-shirts, with maxi dresses, with technology. There are wholesale businesses out there that have a lot of different types of product categories. In that instance, maybe you do put them together, but really the custom algorithm is going to do a better job than most everybody.
Okay.
So
that was my thought with the bourbon infused products, to make sure that they're all together on the page. But I only have 18 items, so it's not a huge assortment.
Yeah, up to you if you want to turn it. I wouldn't suggest it's gonna massively move the needle. Thanks guys for finding the review link. Thank you, Lisa, for that. Yes, it's correct. In the My Shop, then reviews, and there should be a section where you can copy and paste it and then put it into your messages. And then Pamela, are you saying that when we've ordered enough product to get a display, I just tell them they can get a branded display? We're currently working on these packages. Cool. What I would say in regards to that, Pamela, is yes, it needs to make sure from a margin perspective that it works well for you. There are great product point of sale display businesses out there that focus just on building your custom point of sale display. We've gone for wood, for example, on the examples I was showing you, so a bit more pricey, but you can go for cardboard CDUs or counter display units, cardboard floor standing units, that type of thing. Inlays, table talkers, we sell the foot model, for example, as well. And that's going to give you a broad array. What we recommend to retailers, start with something that you're comfortable with. So what we recommend to brands is to start with something that is going to be comfortable for you to kind of put on, not investing too much on. That typically means start small, go with the counter displays if you're not feeling super confident on it. But really think about, what does Coca-Cola do? They brand a whole fridge, right? Up to the small fridge. They will have stuff everywhere. Obviously we're not going to be able to match the scale of Coca-Cola, but in what direction are they going? more options for your retailers in a way that makes sense for your business is what's going to grow your repeat business. And that kind of back to that curve point. Does that help, Pamela? Yeah, cool. We've got a question from Caitlin. Thank you, Lucy, for bumping that up. Do you have any metrics on whether email campaigns or direct message are better? What is a proper way to follow up after the email campaign with another email campaign or direct messaging? Okay, we don't have the metrics on is messages better than email campaigns. You are restricted on obviously how much you can send from a direct message perspective, and it's obviously not going to be as it's not going to have the scale as email marketing will. What we recommend is bringing in a couple hundred retailers a month of leads into your account. Get them with email campaigns, introduce them to your brand, introduce them to your product, bring them in on a consistent basis, show Faire that you're trying to grow the retail side. That will kind of cover you on the emails. Then what we recommend on the acquisition emails, then what we recommend is what we call our weekly nurture emails. This is information and education on how to grow your business or how for them to sell more, essentially. So what are the trends? What's coming up? Tell them about Faire Summer Market a month out so you're seen as a great brand they would want to continue working with. Give them all of the information that you have selling your products. Maybe you're selling it online. Maybe you're selling it on Faire. Create a drive for them to download all of your images and that they can use. Make it really easy for a retailer to say, I am absolutely stoked to be supporting Totally Toronto. Check out our greatest cards, which we've just bought in. And then it'll be, they can put their little brand at the top, maybe a little photo of their shop, something like that. Make it easy for them to look like winners to their customers. And that's kind of what we recommend in that respect. Then kind of what's better, email or messaging? The answer, I don't know. What we do though is we aim for both. So we segment our emails. Basically, you can go into your CRM and play with the filters, and you'll be able to break that down into a whole bunch of different ways. We break it down into 10 different message segments where we talk about everything from the first order, welcoming into the brand, an introduction to speak with the brand owner or maybe the wholesale manager on the account, and everything kind of in between, abandoned baskets, that type of stuff. It does work. Don't go overboard with it. We don't need you to have kind of 10 messages, one-sided, stalkerish in that respect. What we recommend is a couple of messages within a month. After 2 or 3 messages, if you feel like, depending on how engaged they've been previously as a business, maybe then the next message in a month, next message a month after that. And then I would probably slow down to maybe just talking about Faire Summer Market, that type of introduction. And then in terms of follow-up after an email campaign, why I recommend getting leads is also partially why we recommend weekly nurture emails. They're related. You're not going to do weekly nurture emails and spend the time investing on 10 customers, 50 customers, but you might do a weekly nurture email campaign to 10,000 leads. So as you start to build up that leads database and you're sending them a weekly email, you will get more and more return on investment. I can't tell you how many times I've spoken with direct-to-consumer retail marketers and they say cold email is dead. And then I point to them to the 300 different customers who after 2 years came to me after they finally found the time to actually purchase from our business and how often that happens. Business owners can unsubscribe, no problems. Let them do that, right? Just make sure that you're regularly cleaning the hard bounced, the soft bounce and the unsubscribes from your email list on the CRM. Just go through, do that once a month, kick them out. Best in class is to do it before each email, but no one understands that's a lot of work. Kick them out so your email deliverability scores stay high. And that's probably the best way to do it. You can follow up with a direct message, but if you've got those segments, you're probably already messaging them quite regularly already. Caitlin, sorry that I missed you before, kind of skipping. Is there anything else you'd want to add there, Caitlin, or does it help?
No, that helps. Thank you.
Amazing. What type of business do you have, Caitlin?
Handbags, sustainable handbags.
Okay, cool. So relatively costly, would it be?
Relatively, yeah.
Cool. So in that space, it's not a super cheap item like a pair of socks. So maybe you can afford to be a more direct, reach out to those retailers that are purchasing from you already. In your case, if they are buying a lot and they are expensive, then you could also have, maybe it's yourself, maybe someone in your team that is emailing, calling these businesses that have already purchased I would definitely recommend in that case, and we recommend this to all brands, but try to build that personal relationship. Faire is an amazing transactional platform. It is not the best relationship platform. And I hear that all the time, but what can you guys do to make that relationship, right? So if you're 1% better, Faire is going to send every single eyeball to see your product, to make the purchase. A 1% better is an introduction. We use cal.com. You can create a little link, connect it up to your Google meeting or your Outlook meeting, whatever your diary, to kind of see your availability. Then we invite these people to meet with us for 30 minutes. We say, hey guys, I'd love to share with you my new bags that are coming out, my new socks that are coming out, what we're stopping, what we're bringing back, kind of bring them into that brand and really make them feel like you've heard what they're saying, and ask, is there anything that you can do to help them sell more? That's the crucial part. They'll feel like they're insiders. They'll feel like they're listening to you, and they'll feel like they're going to sell more after that call for sure. And to a T, they either order before or after. Every single time. They might have kind of bought something, and you don't make it a sales pitch, right? You're not sitting there being like, buy this, I'm doing a discount here. It's just information, education. Eco-friendly bags as well. You've got the sustainability angle. How do you pitch that to them so that how can then they pitch that to their customers as well? What are the glues we're using? What's the ethics? All that sort of stuff. That type of thing can be really helpful. So cool. Thanks, Caitlin. MK, do we load? Oh, have I missed one? Pamela, do you have an example of a display that you are selling so I can check it out? Cool. Very good. Sorted. Thank you. So we load in our prospects into Faire. I would recommend doing that. We've tested this using, HubSpot as a CRM, using, kind of manually pulled together. What you want to show to Faire in their kind of 200 to 300 different aspects within their search algorithm is that you are the most active person on that platform, and anything you can do to give them confidence that you're going to bring that retailer back. Obviously, the number one thing is having a great product, right? But how do we bring them back on an ongoing basis? Well, I would much rather as Faire send a retailer to a customer that is emailing them using Faire all the time. Hands down, absolutely fair. But when you're doing that, be very careful. Do not bring in rubbish into Faire. Rubbish in will mean rubbish out. Not saying that you would, but just be very careful that you're putting in, good kind of solid leads that you feel could benefit. Amazing. I think that's all of the questions, guys, so far. Just kind of reading through. Guys, Pamela, you mentioned you had a couple questions. Have we covered everything already? Or we might have.
Let's see, where was I? Well, you did cover everything, because I've been working on displays, which is like mind-boggling. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. So this is very helpful. The pre-orders is helpful. I just have to do it. Oh God, I'm so exhausted. I've been doing this for 12 years, so it's like, oh.
I know the feeling.
I'm gonna just keep this, and I've sent it to my team. I now have a team, so
Cool.
Slowly but surely, we're getting our act more together. But
on the pre-orders,
don't have energy or anymore.
we're trying to. I don't know about that, Pamela. That loom I saw was amazing. When you sent it to us, so thank you. But what I would say, how can you make it as easy as possible, right? The bulk edit tool on Faire is fantastic, and you can easily update the pre-order status. What we recommend is if you don't know what you're doing.
For me, Faire is never easy. There's always some quirky weirdo thing that I have to talk to them, and they don't know how to answer it, and whatever.
Okay.
That's mine.
You've got a big catalog, so I can understand that. Actually, there would be some issues that would come from that. But definitely, the bigger you guys can make your catalogs, the better. You will be able to use the 60 characters in the product title, 1,000 characters in the product description. The SEO sheet makes that easy, Pamela. I can see you the grimace.
Yeah, I still can't make that work. But my son is helping me now, but he also works as a tech setup guy, and he's off doing that now. So I have to wait until July for some heavy lifting.
The heavy lifting on it.
But He's off the calendars now. No way he's doing the graphic design on that. He's on this. Forget it.
Cool.
I can hire other people to do the. Too bad.
I can imagine. Well, get him. He needs to be back working for the family. Or maybe he is, but.
Get your ass here.
MK, great question. Can you speak to list cleaning hard bounce? I would love to share my screen, but I couldn't do that without showing you all of our customers as well, I'm afraid. So what I will do is I'll bring it up and I'll talk you guys through it as we're kind of here. So you guys want to bring up your Faire screen in the background, just go into your brand account. What you want to do is go into customers, and then you can go filter. It should be basically kind of near all contacts, near send promo code. Then you want to go filter. Then you want to do campaign delivery, and you want to select those that are hard bounced, soft bounced, unsubscribed. I'm going to put this on a Canva slide, and I'm just going to white out so you guys can see what it looks like in reality. Has someone been able to follow me doing that?
Yeah.
That's helpful. Cool. Okay, good. So it was clear enough then.
Got it.
Perfect. So that's basically what you do. Bring them all up, have a look at them. So I focus on hard bounces and soft bounces and the spam report. Apply that filter. Once you do it, it should be relatively low. Then on the top left-hand corner of the CRM, it should say store name with a tick box next to it. Click that tick box and then delete those customers that haven't ordered. So, sorry, that's probably what I should have said. Include on your filters as well, the order history has never ordered. So if they're bouncing, spam report, and have never ordered, delete them, move on. We had our chance. We gave it a crack. And now we just want to make sure our email list is staying healthy. Cool.
Interesting.
Amazing. Guys, any other questions? Let me just check if there's anyone. Only a couple people haven't asked questions. No problems at all. If you want to jump off mute, feel free. If you want to whack it in the chat, also feel free. They're probably the main things, guys, that we'd cover. Really do try to be as retailer-centric as possible. You'd be so surprised at how often that investment will pay off. Reduce the MOQ, make the reorder MOQ smaller. That will drive velocity of orders. At the start, they'll be smaller, but eventually, as you see, they will grow over time and become much larger. Thank you guys so much for coming onto the call today. Really appreciate it. More than happy to help. We do this obviously because we run the agency as well. So we help businesses grow their Faire business. We do everything on the account across design. We've got people that send messages on the customer service side to kind of bring those people back on an ongoing basis. We write and we do the weekly emails. We do all of the store optimization. We have an account manager, so you'd work with Emily and I. Pamela, if you've liked my vitality and my energy on it, we'd love to help you on your account. Of course, that's the pitch. That's why we're here, but we want to keep it as light as pitch as possible, guys. We just want you to help yourselves if you're interested in helping yourself. If you want someone to help you, then we feel like we do the best job at doing that. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. So thanks for joining, guys. Pamela, question.
Sorry, I'm just doing this filtering thing. And so the thing is I haven't really, consistently marketed to a lot of these names. And they are the other cities that I have a small little collection for.
Yeah.
And just not being able to keep it up.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to delete them. I'm going to take them and, figure out how I do what you've been talking about. And
definitely don't delete them. Only,
and that,
yeah.
people like me for that too, which is good.
Yeah, and only delete the people that have bounced, soft bounced or hard bounced, and haven't ordered, and have or have spam reported. Get rid of them. They don't want it. They're not interested in you, and that will hurt you.
Soft bounce and hard bounce because they're just like they're bouncing.
Yeah, they're bouncing exactly.
And they don't like me. They spammed me. So
Gary.
Why?
I don't understand.
Yeah, people they're funny, aren't they? They could just unsubscribe, but nonetheless. Gary, thank you for the reactions. Love that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for
Anytime.
everything.
Yeah, guys, more than happy to help. More videos are coming out. What I would say is please like, subscribe, follow for more, all that good stuff. Your comments mean the absolute world to us. I think I'm not going to out you this, Kerry, but thank you so much for all of the support you've given us over the years as well. So massive appreciation there. The comments are gold dust to us, guys. They help us grow a little bit and help us work out what next videos we're going to do as well. So
where are we commenting?
On our YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah.
But
Okay.
just, I know so many people already do here. So thank you guys for that. We're just trying to kind of pay it forward, and yeah, amazing. I'll hopefully speak to you guys soon. If this has been helpful, reach out to us and we talk about the agency